my besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And Tana Mongeau is now speaking out and retracting support from and about James Charles. And it's really interesting to see because, as we're aware, besties, Tana Mongeau, first of all, ever the most controversial, but Tana Mongeau and James Charles at one stage were actually close friends. And that is hard to believe because I feel like they're just so completely opposite. But yes, they did collab videos together, they went to Coachella together, they had Instagram posts together because in the world of influencers, that's apparently a big deal and means friendship. But before we get into her statement, as in her tweeting back journalists, please make sure you're subscribed to this YouTube channel, and please make sure you're subscribed to my second YouTube channel, which will be linked below. I have all of my adventures of Brighton there and all my stuff with my animals, and I'd really appreciate your support over there. We're getting close to 20,000. And also make sure you're subscribed here. But on with the videos. So, it's interesting, Tana's statement, and she's getting a lot of support, but she's also getting a lot of backlash. So, it's interesting to note that while moving forward. A lot of people are like, why are you only speaking up now? A lot of people are saying, you know, your silence has been deafening. And other people are like, you know what, I'm happy you're speaking up and I'm going to listen. So, if you know this name, Gage Gomez, do you know it? He is the guy that kind of started this James Charles debacle. He was the guy from Coachella. Now, I'm aware that a lot of you don't understand that, so let's slow it down and really understand what's going on here. So, Gage and James were like flirting / together, you know, like just doing little like couple things, and they went to Coachella together. And everyone saw Gage and James on James's social media platforms, and he was posting about them. Boy, 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 look, I'm with a boy, I'm with a cute boy, blah, 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 blah. This was a good few years ago. Also one of the first big dramas for James. So he was pushing this guy as if kind of they were dating or whatever the fuck was happening, and then they went to Coachella together, and again, cute couple pictures, and then there was just a lot of drama. It seemed that James was accusing Gage of lying about his sexuality, about lying that he liked James Charles, he was using him for clout, and he was a disgusting, dangerous person, and all like this. This is what we were being told by like James's friends, then James went silent and his friends were speaking up for him, and it was very much so that Gage Gomez was this absolute nightmare of a person. And one of the people back in the day who really stood up for Tana and supported her when it came to the Gage-James situation, because a lot of people were split on whether they wanted to support James in this or Gage. Now, Tana was very much so tweeting out in, you know, defense of James, because this is when they were friends, and a lot of that is resurfacing now. And as well, it's interesting the way James handled that situation is so how he handles situations now, which kind of, in my opinion, goes to show that James was not in the right back then, because he's handling situations of him being exposed back then for being a liar the same way he's exposed for being a liar now. Allegedly, in my opinion, bestie, of course, gonna throw those words in so I don't get that lawsuit. So we're just gonna go through these and we are going to talk. So the first thing I'm gonna pull up is the first tweet from Tana from 2019. Now, it was actually the little shit starter herself, Kat Tambarge, who tweeted, going back through the archives, and my goodness, things have changed since May 2019. And we have this tweet from Tana Mongeau. And it really goes to show how long ago this is because it says MTV reality star Tana Mongeau. Now we know that show got cancelled because it was so fucking awful and made her look like a horrible person. So yeah, that didn't age well, but a lot of these things didn't, because now she's defending James in this and now she's not. So no longer MTV star, no longer James Charles friend. So she said in response to someone, you know, talking about Gage, and then Gage responded to that. So she responded to Gage really calling him out and exposing him. And this got 12,000 likes. And this was a response to a tweet. Now, if you don't really know, responses to tweets normally don't do that many likes because they're not pushed on the timeline because it's a response to an original tweet. So the fact it's got 12,000 shows how big this drama was. So Tana said, I watched you lead on and kiss my friend for a whole weekend, and when he realized you got scared and made a video lying and accusing him of being an SEXUAL P word. ... Sad face. It's interesting how the situations with James really just, it's like history repeats itself with different boys. So yes, Gage came forward basically saying that, you know, James was very forward with him and disgusting with him and, you know, thought that there was something happening when there wasn't. And oh my god, doesn't that sound like things that happen with James doing it now? I wonder who was in the right back then. God, this has been happening for fucking years. Legit, watching you lie like this and get away with it breaks my heart. He's a person too. ... You and I know the truth. So, again, so much has changed since that. And Tana Mongeau actually responded to Kat tweeting this out, basically saying that, you know, things have changed. And first of all, I just think it's really interesting, before we move on to what she said, taking this back, that this is 2019, May 2019. Bye Sister came out in 2019. And at this stage, people were defending James, saying that anyone speaking out against him, calling him a SP word, was just, you know, trying to get clout, was lying, whatever. And that goes for Tana too in this tweet. And now we're seeing that, you know, oh, maybe these people were telling the truth. Maybe these people didn't care about clout. Maybe they were actually trying to warn people or get their story out, or try to see this person who's done horrible things to them, allegedly, of course, my darlings, you know, still succeed and still get brand deals and still get pushed further than anyone else who's not an awful person. So, yeah, it's just like, with James, we've been having this conversation about repetitive behavior, but this is going back to 2019. The same things people are having to defend him for. So Tana responded, and this is where it gets incredibly suspicious and weird. Tana responded, and keep in mind, Tana is not added in this tweet. So it was getting like, it only got like 500 likes when she had responded, so she saw this and immediately wanted to shut this down, which for Tana is something we know she does not like to do. She said 100% manipulated and begged to tweet that. That's a big statement, because we're also seeing that people are coming forward about James nowadays, saying that he's been begging them to, you know, defend him and he's gonna go silent and make him look good. Again, I'm not saying that I believe or don't believe, but we're seeing a lot of people say very similar things about James Charles, aren't we? I was defending someone that was my friend at the time and believed them. So, she's basically saying, I believed what he was saying, and implying that it wasn't true. It's also important to note that Gage and Tana are friends now. And remember whenever the narrative was for James, and that, you know, maybe, you know, James was in the right, all this, you know, a couple months ago, even on my channel, we were saying, how shady is it that Tana is friends with Gage? Now we're starting to see more of the picture that maybe it's not shady, and maybe Gage was just the normal person in this, and James did him so dirty and couldn't own up to it, and couldn't, you know, accept the fact that nobody wanted to, you know, be with him or date him or find him attractive or whatever like that, and just turned nasty. I later became friends with Gage, and we discussed it, apologized, heard his side of the story, and now I call him one of my closest friends. So again, that really goes to show that things have been getting said behind the scenes. And now, the tweet isn't even done, and it just goes to show that, like, even on the inside, if Tana hadn't tweeted this, there's so much going on with, like, people that were James' friend, not his friends anymore. And all like this is happening behind the scenes, and we're only starting to see it, and it's like, can you imagine going to like VidCon, you're a featured creator and you have drama, like everyone seems to have drama or hate James, and he's there getting pushed at all these, you know, oh my god, meet and greet sisters, hi sisters, we're going to meet and greet, and all like this bullshit, and you're like, you're an awful person, you did this to my friend, you did that. He seemingly has done it to everyone at this stage, allegedly of course. It's incredibly worrisome. And the fact that Gage got absolutely destroyed back in 2019 just because James was very popular is so incredibly sad, because I'm pretty sure this was before the Bye Sister video. How is it 2019, 2021, and we're still seeing the same power imbalance that James is able to get away with stuff, and people speaking up against him, victims or not, are, alleged victims or not, are just clout chasers. It's not okay. So then Tana said, we gotta realize things change. So her tweet says a lot. And so it's interesting because the response to Tana's tweet, honestly, Kat responded and said, I appreciate you clearing this up. If you're compelled to shed light on this, my DMs are open. I'm trying to put a piece together. Okay. Do I believe Tana? Yes. I actually do in this. I'm on Tana's side in this. She's saying about being manipulated and begged to tweet this by James. She was probably guilt-tripped, in my opinion, of believing this. Bestie, I want to know what you think. She shouldn't have done it back then, but, you know, this was her friend and she was guilted into doing this. And, you know, she was probably being told one side of the story. Now she is both. I'm taking Tana's side on this, but some of the responses are, someone said, OMG, enough. Gage absolutely led James on for clout at the time. He's no victim. Stop watering down the real allegations with stuff like this. The only reason Tana jumped ship is because she's hopped on Gage's DICK. Thanks for letting us know. She is a flip-flopping liar and has always been. Okay, that's someone's approach, I guess. Someone said, now talk about Jake Paul, Tana, because, you know, he's in a lot of shit right now. Someone said, that's on you, though. Stop blindly defending people you consider friends, which is a fair point. P-words have friends in real life, you know. Those friends convince themselves, there's no way my friend could do that. Drag the actual victim to filth over your large platforms, then say, oopsie, when it comes out to be the truth. And I mean, that's completely true, and I am all for that argument in terms of what's going on here with Tana, but I do also just have to say that, do I believe she was, you know, forced and manipulated and lied to so that she would, you know, defend James on her platform when James was being silent? I believe it. You may not, but I believe it. Do I appreciate her speaking up now? I would have appreciated her speaking up before this, but you know what? I'll take what I get. But, like, give us some more. Don't be shy. Like, you know what I mean? We'll read out a couple more. Okay then, Tana, say your take on the situation now. Speak up. Someone said, I have to say, Tana, I really respect you tweeting this, genuinely. You know, you're being fair. It shows you don't support what James is doing to share your truth, and, you know, you're saying that you regret what you tweeted. Credit, because not everyone can do this. So, people are also responding, being like, story time! We don't need a Tana Mongeau screaming story time over this. We need her, like, actually, you know, speaking up in a responsible, sensible way, as opposed to basically just screaming a story time telling us she got effed by a toothbrush. Toothbrush Tana. I don't know, I hope she speaks up more. I feel like she went so hard against Gage back in the day, and I mean, they've rekindled their friendship, good for them, but I mean, there was a lot of protection that was done to James because of Tana doing this. I do appreciate her, though, you know, even coming forward a little bit. I want to know what your opinion and your take on it, though, is, bestie. I love you, I will see you in my next one. Stay safe, stay happy, we will talk about it below. Interesting. Bye. Love you.